A very warm welcome to everyone who has joined us for this exclusive webinar on the Health Talk with Mr. Praveen Kumar on this beautiful Sunday afternoon, evening, I may term it. We shall begin in the next 4 minutes just to let people uh, get accustomed and just join in for the live webinar. I am Bhagyesh Anvekar. I'll be your host for today's webinar, and featuring for today's exclusive webinar will be Mr. Praveen Kumar, who we all know as the moving monk of India. Again, for all those who are new to our webinars, we have a system of asking questions, which you all can put down in the comment section over there. Any questions, any queries you all wish to ask, so you all can put it down in the comment section, and the Unfiltered team will be reviewing it and will be featuring it to so. We shall begin in a short span. For all those, again, those who are new and who do not know what you all have joined in for, a brief introduction on Mr. Praveen Kumar. He is commonly known as the moving monk of India, a professional athlete and a certified coach. He personally has completed more than 150 plus marathons all over India, and a professional marathon runner, but also a obstacle racer. So I'm talking about marathons such as the Comrade Marathon or the Pinkathon and many more like that. And about obstacle races like the Devil Circuit, which is quite popular in India. He has been a featured athlete, a sponsored athlete, I may call him, by Bajaj Electricals, and also a Pinkathon pacer for the year 2019. He has successfully completed a 24-hour Mumbai Stadium run along with Milind Soman, who we commonly known as the sexiest man out there. And also he has successfully completed a 12-hour Mumbai Ultra, which are some of his achievements. We will soon be joining it with Praveen Kumar, and he'll be taking it forward from there. For all those people who have joined in and maybe from a friend or two, or maybe from a link that was provided, we will be talking about concepts related to health and fitness. Great.
Hello everyone. Thanks, Bhagyesh. Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Hello. Hi, sir. How are you?
Fine, Bhagyesh. Thanks
Great,
a lot.
sir.
Yeah.
I think you can take it away from here, sir. I'll be in the background to help you out.
Thank you, Bhagyesh. Wish you a very happy birthday to you, first of all, Bhagyesh, and wish all the participants a very happy, Ganesh Chaturthi, right? And this is an auspicious occasion, right? And we are taking up with this, discussion on fitness and health, right? So thanks, Unfiltered team, for organizing this free sessions. Okay, right. So this will actually help all of us, okay, to open up many different avenues, right, in the arena of fitness and health, right? So before we begin, actually, usually what we do, that we start with breathing, some kind of breathing exercises, right? So first of all, we will do some kind of breathing exercises, and then we will do some pranayams, and then we will take the session forward, right? So let's start with this breathing workouts, right? So all of us who are there, like, I will tell you the steps, okay, and then you have to follow that, right? So you have to sit comfortably, easily, okay, and without any having feeling or emotions on your face, right? And your body has to remain, in a neutral condition without having any kind of rigidity, right? And keep your back straight, okay, and keep yourself very relaxed, and take a long deep breath in, right? Long deep breath in. When I say long means it should be longer one than usually what you are taking, right? And deep like ocean. It's breathing should be like, deep like ocean, okay. And a long deep breath, So this is called LSD. Okay, so L, long, so, long, deep, breathe in, right? L. So let's start with this. Okay, so close your eyes and take it and hold it, and then you can release it, right? Again, take a long deep breath in and release. Now, usually what we do a Bhastrika pranayam. So we have been doing it since in previous sessions as well. So I will tell you the steps. So first of all, what you have to do, you have to close your fist like this and keep your hands like this and to the side of your body. Let your elbow touch your body, side of the body, right? And then when you have to inhale, then you have to raise your arms up like this. Okay, and when you will exhale, then you have to put it down, right, like this. Okay, so this we have to do 20 times, and after that we have to do some more workouts, physical workouts, right? So let's start. I will give the counting. When you exhale, when you bring the hands down, then you have to exhale. So this is the demo. Okay, so let's start once again. I will give you the counting. Once we do the finish the exhaling, then it will be one repetition, right? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So how is the feel now after doing this Bhastrika? Bhastrika is a wonderful breathing workout that is called that is also known as so this is a life filling workout kind of. So when you feel your lungs with breathe, okay, long deep breathe in, then you feel energetic, right? So this is what we have done right now. So after that we will do some kind of exercises. Okay, so that will be dynamic in nature, right? Okay, so let's get ready for that. So for that, what we need to do that you can loosen your muscles, right? So you can rotate your fist like this way, and then you can rotate it other way, other side, right? Okay, keep it straight, shoulder length. Like you have to keep it shoulder length at shoulder length, right? So similarly, you have to keep it like this, and then you can rotate 5 times one side, that is clockwise, and then 5 times anti-clockwise, right? So this is how it will look like. Okay, right. Now what we will do some kind of jumping jacks, right? So jumping jacks, you may be aware, right? So here what we have to do, that we have to raise our hands up when you have to jump like this and raise hands up, and then go down and do like this, right? Okay, so I think this is a better visibility, right? So one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. Next is like you have to, while jumping out, then you have to raise your hands like this, and then bring it down, right? One, two, one, two, 5 times, 3 and 4 and 5. Okay, so the third is like You have to clap over your head, right? So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 4, and 5. So now what we have to do, that we have to mix all this together, right? So first is like this, and then second is like this, and third is like this, right? So everything has to be mixed together, right? And then it's like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So let's mix only 4 as of now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what we will do, we will add another dimension, right? So like this way. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So while when you are opening out your arms, then you have to spread your legs also. This is it. This is not visible, but this is how it has to be done, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. One last time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay. So how's the feel as of now? How's the Josh after doing this? Yes. Thank you. Okay. Am I audible clearly? Yeah.
Yes, sir,
Okay.
definitely. You are audible.
Yeah. So like
Great.
because my camera has moved, is it nice? This angle is nice. Just check
It's
one
slightly
second.
tilted, but I feel that's appropriate for now. It's fine, sir.
Yeah.
We can
Fine.
manage with
Thank
that.
you. Thank you, Bhagyesh. So
No
let's
problem.
begin with the session. Before that, we will do some more breathing workouts. Okay. Just because our heart rate has gone up, right? You may have felt that, right? So we have to settle it down. Okay. And then we will go ahead with the session. Okay. Okay. So fine. So what we will do again, we will close our eyes. Okay. And then we will close our eyes and take a long deep breath in and breathe out. Again, a long deep breath in and breathe out. Okay. So now, because it's Ganesh Chaturthi, so we will add something new into this session, right? So third thing is the last workout is like we will be chanting Om, right? So how to chant Om? So this is what we will first of all I will tell you, and then we have to do it together, right? Okay. So what you have to do, like you have to take a long deep breath in, okay, and when you release that breathe out, when you do the breathe out, then you have to chant Om, right? So like this, and when you finish Ma, that is Om Ma, then you have to breathe it out completely. Okay, so we have to do it 3 times. So let's start. So let's take a long deep breath in. Again, a long deep breath in. Thanks. So how's the feel now? Did you feel better after doing this workout and all that? I'm sure you would have felt like that, right? So now we will begin the session. Okay, so this is a 15-minute of workout which we have done right now, and then welcome all of you for this session on we will be talking about immunity. Okay, and then we will talk about bitcoins. So these are the concepts which we will discuss today, right? And before we go ahead, I would like to introduce myself. Okay, so I'm Praveen Kumar, and I'm a marathoner. So marathon is a distance of 42 kilometers which we have to finish, and then I'm an ultra marathoner, right? So any distance which is beyond the 42-kilometer distance, that kind of running is called ultra marathon. Okay, so besides I'm a devil circuit finisher as well. So there is a there is a race of 5 kilometer. In between there are 15 military level obstacles which we have to cross, right? And I'm a Ironman, right? So Ironman is a kind of triathlon wherein we have to finish 180 kilometer of 3.9 kilometer of swimming, then 180 kilometer of cycling, and 42 kilometer of running within a stipulated time. So this is a brief idea which I have given you about all these events, right? So but if you go into detail, then you will figure out that there are many other things which are attached to it, right? So that is beyond this discussion, beyond the time permitted in this session, right? So this is all about me. So I'm an Ironman. I'm a comrade marathoner as well, right? So which means that I have there is a race which is called 89-kilometer race, which is run between this Durban to Peter Maritzburg in South Africa. So you have to finish it in 12 hours. Okay, so within a stipulated time, right? So this is, if you finish, then you are known as a comrade, right? So comrade marathon finisher, right? So this is the introduction part. So now I would like to take you towards the session. Okay, so this is we will be discussing about immunity. Okay, so immunity is like a kind of defense system, line of defense for us, right? So immunity can be defined in many ways, right? But for me, like, it is a line of defense. Okay, so if your line of defense is strong, then obviously nothing can affect you, right? So so I would like to share my screen and show you the agenda of the day, and share you that PPT. Okay, so please wait. Okay, so we will be discussing about building immunity, and then later on we will discuss about healthy bitcoins, right? So first of all, let's understand this immunity. Okay. So what is immunity? Immunity is our first line of defense to fight against any intruders entering our body system, like virus and bacteria, right? So in general, like when I'm sitting here, right? And then also, there are millions of viruses which are there, right? In the environment, right? So all the every moment, like, these viruses are entering into our system, right? So if our system is strong enough to fight and overcome the problems which are created due to those viruses and bacteria, then we can remain healthy, right? And if the virus overcome our immunity system, means if it is stronger than our immune system, then obviously, like, we are going to fall sick. Okay, so immunity is the ability, in dictionary terms, immunity is the ability of an organism to resist a particular infection or toxin by the action of specific antibodies or sensitized white blood cells, right? So there are two kind of blood cells which you may be aware about, right? There is a white blood cells and there is a red blood cells, right? So white blood cells are actually, our soldiers which are actually fighting against any of the intruders which are entering into our body, right? So this is the function of the white blood cells. So as I told you, there are millions of viruses which are there, and then they are trying to enter into our system. Why they want to enter into our system? Because they are safe. When they enter into our system, then they feel safe, right? So now, how to build this immunity? So first of all, before we go ahead with the uh, how to build the immunity, first of all we have to understand, like like how, immunity is understood. Okay, how immunity can be understood. So immunity system as a line of defense. Okay, so this means that if we are able to control our or strengthen our immunity, so what will happen? We will fall sick very less, right? So even the normal kind of infections and flus, right, like cough, cold and flu. Okay, so any kind of the symptoms are reflecting in our body. So that means what? It simply means that immunity is compromised, right? So the some kind of bacteria or virus has entered into our system, and that is actually captured our system, and they are actually trying to do harm to our system, right? So this is but if our immunity system is strong, then we will not fall sick. For example, since last so many years, or maybe 20 plus years, I have not visited to any doctor, right? So like how now the question obviously will come, how to uh, enhance the immunity or strengthen the immunity, that we will discuss later. But before that, how it is important, this is what we are discussing right now. So for example, we won't fall sick, right? So obviously falling sick is obviously no one likes to fall sick, right? So but eventually it happens. But why does it happen? That is another question which we will discuss in next slides, right? So then we have energetic and happy temperament, right? So if we are falling sick, then obviously we are not feeling good, okay, and we are not energetic by the nature of that sickness. Like this is not our fault, but due to the nature of the sickness, we are not happy, we are not energetic, and even our working capacity get reduced. Okay, so this is what happens, right? Even if you fall sick due to a normal kind of fever also, so the same thing will happen, right? So now nowadays the immunity is a buzzword, right? In the media, right, and in environment, right, because of this covid scenario, right? So covid is impacting big time to all of us, right? And then due to this people are defending themselves, right? But how to defend, that is a bigger question which we will understand in the coming slides, right? So factor affecting immunity. Okay, so you may have heard several things related to immunity, but in day to day life, what are the actions which you are taking, and how it is actually affecting your immunity is a bit you know uh, yeah, another point of discussion, right? So for example, these are the factors which affects our immunity, right? So sugar consumption, for example, sugar, if you are consuming more sugar, so sugar actually what sugar will do? Sugar will affect your immunity, right? So how it will affect? Because sugar actually, if you consume lot of sugar, like any kind of sugar, not only from this white sugar, but also from fruits and all that. So everything is whatever is you taste, it is sweet. Okay, so that is a sugar only, right? So whatever tastes sweet to you, so that is a sweet sugar, right? So any kind of sugar if you are consuming in excess amount, then what will happen? That you uh, your this insulin which is secreted in our body, so that will not function well, right? And that is the reason, your immunity will also get compromised, right? So This is how it will happen. So over consumption of sugar will also add into fat deposits, right? So similarly, less consumption of fluids, right? So for example, in general, the amount of water is which is required to be consumed in a day-to-day scenario, that has to be maintained, right? For example, 5 to 6 liters of water if you're consuming, okay, and after you cannot consume it in one go, so you have to consume in small amount, okay. So you have to keep sipping water, okay. So keep sipping water like this whenever you feel like, and then actually this will flush out all this you know wastage material in your into your from your body, right? And obviously this wastage material are going to affect your body system, right? And then your immunity system can also be compromised, right? So similarly, weight loss, okay. So in the current COVID scenario, as per a study, what we have understood, that people who are having higher BMI, that is uh, body mass index, so they are prone to sickness, right? And they have fallen sick and they have died also, right? So in most of the cases, the people who have recovered, so they actually weighed little less on the scale, right? Weighing machine, right? So this is another important aspect which we need to take care, and this is what is affecting our immunity, okay. So constant dry nose, okay. So constant dry nose means, if see our we understand that, like in previous sessions also we have discussed, like in our breathe coins session, what we discussed, that our nose is meant for breathing, right? And our mouth is meant for eating, right? So sometimes what happens when you breathe through mouth, okay, like this, so obviously the nasal function is actually affected, okay, and that is reduced, in fact, right? So when it is reduced, obviously the function which nose has to do, it is compromised, right? And that is the reason, like this you are not able to breathe properly, right? And if you are unable to breathe properly, again immunity is going to be impacted, right? This is what we have discussed in previous session also, right? So now the thing is that, what are the other benefits of this nasal breathing? Once again, I would like to reiterate. So what happens when we breathe through nasal breathing? So there are hair-like structure is there inside the nose. Okay. So when you breathe, then that structure actually helps to filter out, filter this breathing. Okay, and that's the reason, like, you feel better and you can breathe better, right? And aside to this, there is a nitric oxide which is mixed into this breathing which you take, right? And due to this nitric oxide, when it is processed inside our body, then our immunity gets strengthened, right? So ideally, like, whenever you are breathing, then the breathing has to happen through nose only, right? Stress and anxiety, okay. So for example, even if people are not having COVID like symptoms, okay, but if you are stressed out about it, or if you're you means due to this media humors and media news and all that about the COVID, and the kind of worries which is created into environment, so this can actually affect your immunity, right? And due to this stress and an anxiety, what will happen, you will fall sick even if the sickness is not there, because this is an artificial sickness which can get created into you, right? So this is another problem, okay. So similarly, the frequent sickness, okay. So if you are falling sick very often, that means that what is that, your immunity is already compromised, right? So like, if your immunity is compromised, so obviously the when we talk about immunity and this thing, so what happens, like, our border, okay, the body system and its border is already compromised, so anyone can enter and attack you, right? So any kind of virus and bacteria can enter and attack you, right? So if you are falling frequently sick, so obviously your immunity is already compromised. Any kind of virus and bacteria can come and enter into your system and attack you, right? So these are the factors which were affecting immunity, right? So how to strengthen our border, right? So this is very important, right, to understand, because this is very relevant also in this current scenario, because nowadays we are fighting with COVID-19, right? And that is one of the deadliest virus, right? So until and unless we keep our border is what? Border is our, this is a means interface, body interface. Until and unless we protect our body interface, then we are unable to protect our system, right? So what is the interface? Our all these organs which are actually getting some kind of input from environment, right? For example, now nose, then mouth, then ear, then skin, right? So all these things has to be protected, and that's the reason, like, you are wearing mask, right? But mask is a just a kind of temporary solution, right? So but in fact, like, what is the ideal solution is, like, even if COVID is entering in your system, right? And even if COVID is injected into your system, that should not impact you. So this is the idea. This is what we have to develop into your our being. Okay, being means human being system, human being system, right? So how to develop that? So obviously, like, this all these border points, okay, this has to be seal packed, or so this is one option which we are doing currently, right? So we are wearing mask, and we are wearing so many things, right? And we are trying to protect ourselves. So even if like, if even if we are not wearing and we are not doing that, can we protect this all these input points? This is the idea, okay? So obviously we can do that, but in order to do that, obviously there are many factors which we need to consider, right? So for example, first is that getting enough sleep, because our immunity is strengthened and our body is recovered only during a good kind of sleep environment. So obviously we have discussed about the sleep points, and its importance, right, in the previous session, right? So wherein we have already discussed that, during the sleep time, what happens, our body is ready to get recovered, right? And our immunity gets strengthened, because white blood cells, they also require energy, right? So during daytime, when our body is completely busy, then the white blood cells cannot do much of the work, right? So this is means in general also we can understand it, right? So if you are engaging your energy at different points doing different things, so obviously our soldiers which are inside, they are also busy all the time. But when you sleep, then relatively our body energy system is focused towards strengthening our immunity, right? So this is one thing. Second thing is eat more whole plant food, okay? So whole plant food, why? Because this is what can synergize with our system, right? So our system, our body system, when I talk about system, that means what? Our body system, right? So when we eat a complete plant food in place of processed food, so what will happen? Our complete body system will start processing it from scratch, okay? So this is the reason, like, the maximum amount of nutrients our body can get it from those plant based food, right? So for example, if we talk about any processed food, and what is the difference between plant food, is like, when when you eat a processed food, so it is already processed, so all the nutrients is already processed, and the quality of nutrients has already been compromised, right? And if it is a non-processed food and let it be processed into our system, if we let it get processed into our system, what will happen? Our maximum this will give you the maximum kind of input for your body, right? Maximum kind of nutrient for our body. For example, if you can consider a sugar cane, right? So you if you take out the juice, okay, so take out the juice and have the juice, so what will happen? So like, you are having juice, right? So it is going to be processed into your system. Rather, if you are having a sugar cane directly, and start juicing with your mouth only. Okay, start chewing it, and you feel that difference. Okay, so what will happen, some amount of fiber will also go inside. Okay, so in place of having this sugarcane juice, and if you are having this the whole sugarcane, so obviously this whole sugarcane will be much more full of nutrient because it is having fiber, and your body is processing it, so it is working hard to understand and connect with this food, right? So this is the difference between these two. And obviously when you have this kind of sugar cane juice, so what will happen, it is having more of sugars, right? So this is because sugar cane juice means sugar, it is full of sugar, and if you process it already, then it is deadlier, right? So this is just a understanding in nutshell, right? Eat more healthy fats, right? Healthy fats means if your body is able to burn more fat, then what will happen, if you add more fat into it, and if your body is able to burn it, then what will happen, you will have ample amount of energy for taking care of your day to day routine, right? So this is the reason, like this added the healthy fat. By healthy fat, what I mean again is it's a non-processed fat, right? For example, the fat which is coming through coconut sale, right? So that is a healthy kind of fat. And similarly, like ghee. Okay, usually what we say, what we call that ghee or something, this kind of items are not good for our health, but rather this ghee, if you consume, then and your body is able to process that ghee, then it is good actually. And so similarly, like some people who are having salmon fish oil and all that, so you can have that also, right? So limit added sugar. Okay, so sugar obviously, like from all the sources, whatever you are consuming, like let it be rice, let it be wheat, let it be anything, like vegetables, let it be fruits. Okay, so from all the sources, sugar is already coming into your system. Sugar in the form of carbohydrate, right? So sugar is coming, so that means what, if you are adding more extra white sugar, so that will somehow impact your immunity, right? And your insulin, okay, insulin, the functionality of insulin hormone will be impacted, right? And so that's the reason, like you have to limit your added sugar, right? Engage in moderate exercise. Okay, so when you engage in moderate exercise, what will happen, you are able to burn the excess sugar which you have consumed, right? And then similarly, if you are burned the excess sugar, then what will happen, your immunity will also get strengthened, because that insulin which was actually affecting your body system. Okay, and if your resistance to utilize that immunity, sorry, insulin, then what will happen, your this thing will get affected, right? So then similarly, you have to stay hydrated. So wastage materials which are there into your body system, that has to be removed, right? So in order to remove that, you have to stay hydrated, right? And manage your stress level. So stress level is also impacting your this thing, immunity, because if your stress level is higher, then what will happen, your white blood cells won't have enough energy to protect yourself, right? So this is how these are the things which will affect your immunity, right? So now, last in the last session, what we did, like we have discussed about exercise that is called bolt exercise. Okay, so bolt method to understand, like uh, how's your breathing, breathing volume, right? So this is the exercise which we would like to do it again here. Okay, and just to give you a glimpse, means brief idea, like how to work on your breathing, right? And because this is the thing which is available with you, which will protect your body system, right? And protect your borders, right? Usually this is what I call borders, because this is this points, okay, touch points or input points. Okay, So this sensors which we have, right? If we are able to protect this sensor, so obviously like we are protect our complete body system, right? So in the this exercise, what we have to do is like, we have to do I will tell you the steps. So what you have to do is you have to take a normal deep breath in and breathe out, and then you have to take a normal breath in and breathe out, and hold your nose with your finger, okay, and calculate the time, okay, time of the number of seconds which you can hold, okay, hold this, okay, and without breathing in, right? And then the moment you feel like there is a definite hunger of, you know taking the breathe in, then you have to open it up, right? And this duration you have to calculate. For example, I will tell you, I will give you the demo, okay? So this is called bolt score, okay? So let's do it like this. Take a deep breath in and breathe out, and hold it. So this is how we have to do. And the moment you you feel a different hunger of, breathing in, then you have to take it, slowly you have to take it in, right? So this is something called bolt score, okay? So this is an exercise by which you can understand how much, breathing volume your body can hold, okay? And on the basis of that only we will understand like how, how better your breathing is, right? And as I discussed in previous session as well, right? This breathing, that is called breath points, okay? So breath points are affecting our whole system, right? And this is affecting our immunity as well, right? So if we are able to do this workout and understand and increase this bolt score over a period of time, so obviously our immunity will become stronger, right? So this is a simple kind of exercise, and this is a simple kind of measurement. Because see what happens, we can do a number of exercises, but until and unless we measure anything in numbers, then we are not getting anywhere, right? So we have to understand, and we have to measure this bolt score, and accordingly like we have to do it, right? So this is all about this immunity part of this discussion. Now before going ahead with this, I would like to understand if there are any questions that can be passed to me. Is there any question that can be posted here, Bhagesh? Maybe if it is
Yep.
there in
Hello.
the YouTube, then you can actually post it here.
Absolutely, sir. The Unfiltered team is currently working on that. If any questions do come,
Yeah,
we'll put them up.
yeah, sure. So can I continue?
I surely, sir, you should move forward. Yes.
Yeah, okay. So moving ahead with this bitcoins, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. Thank you. Okay. So now moving ahead with this bitcoins, right? So what is the health bitcoins? Okay, so this is very important actually. So this bitcoins is a word which is actually, defined by me, right? So this is very because this is something which is similar to a coin, right? So bit means our heartbeat, okay? So this is beating every moment, right? And coins is like a important parameter, right? like this heartbeat which is beating inside. So how better we can utilize this every bit of it, right? Every bit. So the bitcoins are measured in bpm, that is bits per minute. Okay, so 1 bit per minute, if you are given 1 bit per minute, so how effectively and how better you can utilize that. Okay, so this is the idea behind the bitcoins. Okay, so bitcoins is nothing but this uh, heartbeats, right? So so obviously these bitcoins are like crypto coins, okay, cryptocurrencies. Like this is a very popular term in digital world nowadays, okay, and in financial world as well, right? So we talk about the crypto coins. Okay, crypto coins means what? That is a virtual kind of coin. Okay, so similarly these bitcoins are also virtual, right? And then crypto coins are actually encrypted. In terms of encryption, it is there, but it is not existing anywhere, right? So similarly, these bitcoins are also encrypted because we won't be able to understand how does it work, okay, and how to expense it out, right, and how to utilize it at the max, right? So this is the similarity between this, crypto coins and bitcoins, right? So that is the reason that is very interesting to understand, like how to utilize your bitcoins. Bitcoins means heart rate bitcoins, right? Heart rate bits, okay. So how to utilize your heart rate well, right? So in order to understand and what is the benefit and what are the how to utilize, what are the benefits and all that, this is the point of discussion now, right? So so now before going ahead with that, so what I will discuss, just a minute. Okay, so in general what happens, like if you are not having any focus or control on your heart rate, so you are not aware where it is heading for, right? It's like a mad horse, okay, so which is right, galloping in a jungle, right? So you are not having any control, and then what will happen, like you are not able to ride that horse which is a mad horse, right? So until and unless you are able to control it, okay, so you cannot ride a horse like that, right? So similarly, if you are unable to control your heartbeat, so you won't be able to anytime, like it will stop beating, right? And you can actually uh, fall sick, or maybe means you can die also, right? So idea is like how to understand it in a better manner, and by understanding you can remain aware and maximize its utilization, and then get the maximum output in terms of your day-to-day routine, in terms of your athletic performance, okay, in terms of your stress level management, in terms of your food nutrition management and all that. So there are different dimensions, okay, through which you can actually control this heartbeats, right? And once your heartbeat is you are taking control of the heartbeat, what will happen? You are able to take the maximum output out of it, right? So why this is what are the benefits of this heart rate, okay, based training? Okay, so basically bitcoins means if you have to expense it out in a better manner, so what we have to do, we have to train those bitcoins. So that is called heart rate training. Okay, so heart rate bit, so heart rate training. So what are the benefits of this heart rate training? So usually, like in this current COVID scenario, also what has happened, like if you go through the data, okay, then what you will figure out that mostly people have died because they were obese, right, or they were over fat, right? So so what do you think, like whether this fat is a kind of debt for us, or whether it is a the question, this is the question for all of us, like whether the fat which is available in our body is a debt or asset, right? So like it is like it's a two-way kind of answer which we can give offer for this, right? So for example, if you are able to utilize the fat, then what will happen? The same fat will work as a good fuel for your system. This is what we have discussed in previous session as well, right? And in our upcoming session also we are planning to discuss on which is the date, Bhagesh? 30th of, you know, what is the date for this Bitcoins session,
Hello,
Bhagesh?
sir. Yes.
What?
So the Bitcoins will be on the
Can you
30th.
announce
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
30th?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah.
It'll be on the 30th. That is the next
Right.
Sunday. And we'll have
Oh,
a building immunity webinar
yeah.
exclusively on the 29th, which will be the Saturday.
Right, right. So 29th we are discussing again about immunity in depth, and similarly on 30th we are discussing about heart rate based training, right?
Great, correct.
So like all of us who are present here, right, they can join us, okay, and actually understand in greater detail, right, better detail, right? So basically what we have discussed earlier also, this burning fat for fuel, okay, so we have already discussed, like, we have two sources of energy, that is, first is carbs and the second one is fat. Fat is usually secondary source of energy, but what we can do, like if we are doing this heart rate based training, okay, means by understanding our heart rate, then same fat can become a primary source of energy. Like for example, earlier when we were working 80% of carbs and 20% of fat, and if we reverse the scenario and we start burning 80% of fat, then nothing is as good as that, right? This is the best scenario to happen for our body, right? And the body can actually have ample amount of fuel which is available with it, right? And for a longer period of time, so you are not actually supposed to actually look for any other intake to remain energized, right? So this is the second point, that is increased energy and endurance. For example, like if your body become a fat burning engine, so what will happen, you will have ample amount of energy and endurance to carry out any kind of task, right? For example, even in a thinnest person, as per a study, what we understand that he can actually walk for 100 kilometers, 100 miles, sorry, that is 161 kilometers, okay. So like the energy basically will come through only fat burning, okay. So if he is able to burn more fat, if that person is able to burn more fat, so he can actually run, he can walk that distance, okay, easily, right? Just on the basis of his fat reserves, whatever minimum he has. So obviously if we compare ourselves with that kind of person, then obviously we have more fat, okay. So obviously if we are able to burn more fat, then we will actually maintain weight as well, and we will have better energy and endurance for longer events, right? For example, if we are running in a 89-kilometer event, so obviously like you demand a lot of energy, okay, and energy which is which is not static but which is actually usable, right? So fat is the energy which is already available. Only thing is, only concern is that how to burn it. So that is what we are going to discuss on 30th of this month, right? Then run faster for longer, right? So run faster for longer means what? Like the this heart rate is restricting your speed as well, right? So for example, you run 1 kilometer and your heart rate is going is around 170 bpm, right? So what will happen, the next moment, like you step up and you go for the second kilometer, so it will cross its boundaries and your heart won't support it, right? For the next kilometer it may happen. I'm just giving an example, right? So if you train your heart in a manner wherein your first kilometer heart rate remains around 70 bpm and all that, so obviously you can afford to have second kilometer as well, right? So this way, like if you are training your heart rate in a better manner, you can run fast, okay, in future. And not only fast but also long means what, like you can cover more distance, right? And similarly injury and disease prevention, right? So if you're if the if you are able to burn more fat, so what will happen, that you will be less injured, because as per method that is called film marathon method. What happens during this heart rate training? You have to train your complete system. Okay, in order to train your complete system, you have to watch all your steps carefully. Okay, so whatever you are doing in your day to day activity, if you are watching all this all the steps, okay, while taking care of your heart rate, then what will happen? Your injury will be less, right? And similarly you will be actually better in terms of fitness and health, right? So you will be healthier, okay, from your previous version, right? So similarly, this heart rate monitoring will also improve your brain functions, right? Because see what happens usually. I will give you one example. So whenever we are stressed, right? So we go for a cup of coffee or tea, okay, and we add sugar, one spoon of sugar, suppose we add, right? And then still we do not feel good about it, right? And we are still, our brain is lethargic, right? And we are unable to think properly, right? So again we go for a second cup of coffee or tea, and then we add more sugar, and this is how our body works, right? And then we feel good, and then we feel because of the intake of this sugar, repeated amount of sugar intake, our body functions, right? So our body gets addicted to that addition of sugar, right? So it may end up with 15 to 20 cup of coffee and tea also, right? But in contrast, if you think, like, if you are able to burn fat in place of this sugar, and if your brain functions much better, so obviously there is nothing better than this option, right? So basically we want to burn fat, right? And then we want to have a better brain function as well, right? So this will happen only through this heart rate based training, right? Similarly, better health and fitness, right? So there is a difference between fitness and health. For example, what can happen? For example, there is a 42-kilometer marathon, right? So someone is able to finish that marathon, and due to when he finishes the marathon, he falls sick due to cough and cold. Okay, so it may happen because a marathon, 42-kilometer marathon, is a strenuous kind of workout. Okay, so what will happen? His body is actually completely stressed out, and then what will happen? Yeah, his fitness is okay to run that distance, but his healthy condition is compromised, right? His health is compromised, and then what will happen? Even as any kind of virus or bacteria can easily impact his health, right? So in order to protect that, so what we should do, that we should run that distance, and within a limited time, okay, or on a faster basis, and at the same time we should remain healthy. Okay, so how it has to be done? It can be done only through this heart rate training. Okay, so this is what it is all about, right? So heart rate training plays a major role in keeping you healthy and fit, right? So now we will talk about this heart rate at the center of everything, right? So like heart rate is impacted by your stress, right? And in breathing, and then food, and then sleep, and then actions, then incidents, and the emotions, and then weather, injury, and illness, right? So now the next topic is obviously if it is impacted by all these factors. So how it is impacting vice versa, right? So for example, stress is impacting heart rate. So how heart rate is also impacting stress. So similarly for breathing, right? And food and sleep and actions, incidents, emotions, weather, injury, right? So this is the point of discussion. So this is the 10th slide actually. So how to manage your heart rate, right? So for example, stress. When you are stressed, so what you feel like, your heart starts beating fast, right? So you actually do not you do not realize it that it is beating faster. Okay, and sometime in a strong stressed moment, what can happen, like your heart may not be able to work, and then it will fail, okay, and then you may have a cardiac arrest also, right? So and this is how the heart rate is affected, right? So similarly, when we discussed in our breathe coins, so then also we discussed about this heart rate, about the how our breathing will impact our heart rate, okay. So if we are able to breathe better, so obviously our heart rate is low, right? So ideally our idea is to keep our heart rate low, right? And at something which we say is resting heart rate, okay. So when we wake up early in the morning, and when we check our heart rate, it should remain low, right? So for example, for athletes who are good athletes, the heart rate remains at 35 bpm, that is 35 beats per minute, right? So like breathing, okay, so how the breathing will affect your heart rate, okay. So that is also important, because when we breathe through mouth, so our you will realize that your heart rate is up, right? And this is the reason, like we have to breathe through nose, okay. And there are the there is a science behind this breathing through nose, and which works to affect your heart rate, and your heart rate you are able to keep it low, right? So similarly, what we talked about is a food, right? So how the food is impacting your heart rate, okay. So if you are eating, if you are having processed food, okay, so which is having less amount of nutrients. So if it is not having nutrients, so what will happen, your heart rate has to work more, right? Because it is not giving getting enough nutrients to work properly, right? And then obviously, like, your heart rate will go up, right? So you may have experienced that whenever you are doing any kind of fast and all that, so your heart rate is comparatively low. For example, when I did my carbohydrate intolerance test, so that was not a basically fast, but it is a restrictive kind of eating, right? So in this restricted kind of eating, right, I had to eat only nuts, seeds, okay. So that were means uh, not processed, okay, or maybe we can say like least processed, right? So when I was doing that test for 14 days, so what happened at the end of the day, my heart rate, the resting heart rate was around 39 somewhere, okay. So that was the lowest one, okay. Okay, as of now, what I experienced, okay. So I kept on recording the resting heart rate on a day-to-day basis, right? So similarly, your sleep is also affecting your heart rate. So if you are having a good sleep, so particularly what I discussed in last session also, like sleep coins, okay. So if we had discussed, like we had three parts of the sleep, right? So in this three parts of sleep, if you are having deep sleep, okay, so without any dreams or without any this rapid eye movement and all that, so obviously this will also impact your heart rate, right? And your heart rate will be low, right? So this is very important actually, to take care of all these aspects, okay. So once you all these aspects are taken care of, then what will happen, your heart rate will remain low, right? And actions, okay. So for example, actions which you are taking, like for example, today I would like to discuss, like I was watching a video, okay, watching a session webinar, and while walking, and I was carrying 3 4 packets of eatables, right? So these things means at a time you were doing 2 3 things, okay. So this is something called multitasking, which you may be aware, and which we are actually doing very often, right? So this is also impacting our heart rate, right? So what will happen, obviously, like if the heart rate is impacted, then it is not good, okay. And so we need to remain aware. Obviously this is going to happen, but we need to remain aware, and then if we are aware, then only we can take action, right? So how to control that, right? So incidents, for example, if you are walking, and then all of a sudden a speeding car comes in front of you, and then what will happen, you will get a sudden jerk, right? and then due to this sudden jerk, what will happen? Your heart rate will go up, right? So these are the things which are affecting your heart rate, right? So similarly, emotions, like you feel, your heart rate is beating hard in distress time, right? Or in a bad time, right? So similarly, injury. Okay, so if you are injured or if you're ill, then obviously like your heart rate is impacted, right? So so how to manage your heart rate, right? So this is very important. Okay, so obviously like in order to manage your heart rate, what we have to take care is like all these aspects. These are the few aspects, like these are I think 4 to 6 and 4 10. So there are 10 pointers, right? So which are affecting your heart rate. So if you are able to take care of these 10 pointers, then obviously somehow your heart rate is being managed. And nowadays this is a Garmin watch. Okay, so this kind of sports watches is having a functionality wherein you can measure your heart rate, right? And this is very important nowadays because we are in a fast paced world, right? And what is happening inside our body, we are not aware, right? So if you are not aware, so obviously we are not going to take any action, right? And if you are not taking any action, any incidents or accident can happen any point of time, right? With our body, right? So how to manage our heart rate? So this is the last topic of the discussion today, right? Okay, so obviously like in order to manage the heart rate, we have to take care of all these steps which are mentioned above, right? So so if we are as discussed, like in a fast paced world, if we are not aware like what is happening inside our body, so that is the problematic thing. So this is not only risky for athletes, okay, so who can actually die due to cardiac arrest and all that. It can happen with anyone, right? So even if you think that you are safe and nothing can happen to you as a person, so you are actually in a you are making fool of yourself, right? This is what I can tell you. And then what we have to do, that we have to understand this thing, this aspect of heart rate. Okay, so how to manage your heart rate is obviously is like I follow a method that is called Phil Maffeton method. Okay, of this thing of workout. Okay, so wherein we have to manage it with a formula that is called 180 formula. Okay, so 180 formula gives you a range of heart rate within which you have to work, okay, or exercise, right? So this is something like in the 180 formula, what you have to do, that you have to deduct your age from that 180 bpm. Okay, and if you have there are several other conditions, like for example, if you have fallen sick during last like it reads like if you have or are recovering from a major illness including any operation or hospital stay, or are in a rehabilitation, right? Have been prescribed any regular medication, or chronically overtrained, subtract an additional train 10. Okay, so for example, if your age is 40, right? And if you deduct it from 180, so your heart rate becomes, the manageable heart rate becomes 140, right? And if you are not in a good condition of health, so again you have to deduct 10, right? So that then it becomes 130, right? So you have to operate within 130 in general. And the moment like it is crossing 130 bpm, then you have to take care of all the aspects which are affecting your heart rate, right? So once you start doing it, then you will realize that you are taking care of not only your heart, but your complete system, your surroundings, your stress, your food, and your food and sleep and action and incidents, emotion, weather, injury, illness. So in nutshell, what will happen? You will not fall sick, right? Because you are trying to you know control all the other aspects of your health, right? So this is how you, while managing this heart rate, what you can do, you can actually maximize your fitness and health quotient, right? So this is the reason, like, this is very important, right? So Bhagesh, I think I have covered all the topics for the day and for the session, right? Now if we have any questions, then we can take it forward, right?
Definitely, sir.
Yeah.
Uh, we do not seem to have any questions at the moment. But
Yeah.
nevertheless, I would like to take this time that we have at the moment, and I would like to thank you, sir, for uh, coming out today and shelling out your time to let us know about these beautiful concepts, which we will soon be talking about in depth in the coming weekend. Like you mentioned earlier, we will be having our Building Immunity webinar on the 29th. That's the coming Saturday. And we will be having our Health Bitcoins webinar, which will be on a Sunday, the day after Building Immunity.
Yeah. Sure.
Yes, and both the webinars will be at 4 o'clock, just like today. So, any
Yeah.
we do
Yeah.
not seem to have any
Yeah.
questions at the moment.
Yeah. Not an issue,
So,
Bhagesh. Thanks a lot.
any yeah, correct.
So what I'm suggesting, like, these questions, if anyone is having any question, that should be actually answered, right? So what they can do, that they can post their questions in the WhatsApp group, right? And then that
Absolutely
can be taken care of, right?
correct, correct. For all those who are still not in our WhatsApp group, we have, in fact, made many WhatsApp groups for all the participants who wish to discuss and share health and fitness related topics and concepts. And if any queries, you all can ask us directly on the WhatsApp groups because Praveen Kumar is constantly active on the groups, and his main motto is for all of us to stay healthy in this lockdown. So, sir, any last words that you would like to say before we take the
Yeah.
time off and join
So
next week?
like, investing in your health is a kind of preventive investment, right? So once there is a old adage, right? So what we call is health is the final wealth, right? So even if you are having, crores of rupees, that also is not going to help you if you are not healthy and fit, right? So this is what we understand. And this our mutual, this discussion, which is we talk about, it's all about health and fitness, and we have conducted several sessions on this, right?
Correct.
And our motto is actually to make everyone who is coming in, in our environment should be fit and healthy, okay? So not only for
Absolutely.
themselves, but also to keep their environment also fit and healthy, right? So
True.
ideally, this is a kind of propagation, right? So once you are healthy and fit, then only you will keep others also, healthy and fit, and then we can,
Absolutely right.
yeah, so we can actually take care of this corona also very well, right? COVID
That's
scenario, right?
correct.
COVID-19, right?
That's a trending topic. Uh,
Yeah.
yes. Thanks a lot, sir, for shelling out time and being here with us for this free introductory webinar, which we conducted. Uh, for the audience, Mr. Praveen Kumar will be joining us again next week, Saturday, Sunday, at the same time at 4 o'clock. And we wish to see you there. For any inquiries or any information about our upcoming webinars, you all can directly contact us. The link is given in the comment section over there by the Unfiltered Enterprise, which is currently collaborating with Mr. Praveen Kumar. That's a
Yeah.
WhatsApp group link, and you all can freely get in touch with us regarding the webinars and any information about Mr. Praveen Kumar. So I thank you, and we will soon meet in the coming week. Yes, okay.